Chosen one, you stopped asking. Not because you lost faith, because asking started to hurt too much. Somewhere between the 1,000th prayer and another quiet morning, you folded that question up, put it deep in your pocket like a stone you couldn't throw away and couldn't keep carrying, and you just stopped saying it out loud. Why has God been so quiet with me? You didn't say it to your pastor. You didn't say it to your children. You barely whispered it to yourself at 3 inches the morning when the house was dark and the ceiling had no answers. Because you are a faithful person, and faithful people aren't supposed to ask that. But it's there, isn't it? 60 years of Sundays, decades of kneeling, a lifetime of yes, Lord, and still, certain doors never opened. Certain prayers feel like letters you mailed to an address that never wrote back. You watched people around you receive breakthroughs, healings, clarity, abundance, and you stood at the edge of a door that never fully swung open, holding a grief with no funeral, mourning something you couldn't even name. And the most dangerous lie you started to believe wasn't that God forgot you. It was quieter than that. Maybe he kept something from me. Maybe I already missed my season. I need you to hear me right now, not as someone performing a message, but as someone who has sat with that exact weight. The silence was never abandonment. Not once. Not for a single morning of all those mornings. Today is not hype. There is no hype here. Today is about understanding. And understanding real, soul-level understanding changes everything a revival meeting never could. By the end of this message, you will understand 3 things God was actually doing inside your silence. And the final revelation, the one I'm saving for last, is not about your future. It is about who you already are. If this is already naming the question you stopped saying out loud, type right now, I'm still here. Because that's the whole testimony. You're still here. Stay. Because everything changes from this point forward. The invisible shift. The season is already changing. Something is happening inside you that you have not been able to explain to anyone. Not to your doctor, not to your children, not even to yourself in the mirror on a Tuesday morning when everything looks exactly the same, but somehow you know it isn't. You feel it the way you feel a weather change before the clouds arrive. Something in your bones, something beneath the noise. And I need you to understand something right now before we go any further. That feeling is not confusion. That feeling is not aging. That feeling is not you losing your mind. That feeling is God moving. Chosen one. The season is already changing underneath you, and most people miss it because they are looking for the thunder when God already sent the tremor. Job 33:14 says it plainly. God does speak. Now one way, now another, though no one perceives it. No one perceives it. That's the tragedy. Not that God went silent, but that the shift came so quietly, so personally, so deep beneath the surface that you almost called it nothing. I am here to tell you, it was never nothing. There are 4 signs that your season has already begun to change, and I want you to hold each one up against your own life like a mirror, because one of these is going to stop you cold. The first sign, everything is hitting you deeper. Music you've heard 100 times is suddenly making you cry. A stranger's face in a grocery store carries weight you can't explain. You read a scripture you've known for 40 years, and it breaks open like it was written this morning for you specifically. You are not becoming sentimental. You are becoming sensitive, and there is a profound difference. Sensitivity is the first language of the Spirit when He is preparing to speak. Your emotional depth is not weakness. It is a widening. God is stretching your capacity to receive what He is about to release. The second sign, the old version of you no longer fits. The roles you played for decades, the fixer, the strong one, the one who never needed anything, they sit on you now like a coat, 3 sizes too small. You put it on out of habit, and something in you says, This isn't who I am anymore. Don't fight that feeling. Don't apologize for it. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "There is a season for everything." And when a season ends, the clothing of that season stops fitting. That discomfort you feel in your old identity is not a loss. It is God refusing to let you stay smaller than what He has prepared you to become. The third sign, clarity, is breaking through in the quietest moments. Not in church, not during worship music. In the car, in the kitchen at 6 inches the morning, in the 5 seconds before you fall asleep. A quiet knowing, a settled sense that arrives without announcement and says, "It is going to be all right. Something is coming. Hold on." That is not wishful thinking. That is the Holy Spirit described in John 16:13. He will guide you into all truth, not into all noise. Into all truth. Truth comes quietly. Truth comes with weight. Truth lands in ordinary moments, because ordinary moments are where real people actually live. The fourth sign, and this one is the most powerful, you have peace beneath the chaos. On the surface, things may still look unresolved. Questions are still open. Prayers still feel unanswered. The circumstances haven't caught up yet. But underneath all of it, underneath the confusion, underneath the waiting, there is a current, deep, steady, and moving forward, like a river beneath frozen ground. You can't see it, but it is there, and it has been moving the entire time you thought everything was frozen. Philippians 4:7 calls it the peace that passes all understanding. Not peace because everything is resolved. Peace that exists before resolution arrives. Peace that makes no logical sense given what you're looking at, but it's there anyway, holding you from underneath. That peace is not coincidence. That peace is confirmation. God does not give unexplainable peace to people whose story is ending. He gives it to people whose breakthrough is loading. Now, chosen one, I need you to feel the full weight of what I just told you. Your confusion may still be visible to everyone around you. Your questions may still be written all over your face. The answers may not have arrived yet in any form you can touch or count or show another person. But your season has already begun changing underneath it. The ground is cracking, not breaking apart, cracking open. The way winter ground cracks in late February before anything green is visible, before anybody outside would believe spring is coming. The cracking already happened. The turning already began. And here is what that means about the silence. If the season was already shifting beneath the surface, then the silence was not God stepping away from you. The silence was God working beneath you. There is a profound difference between a God who went quiet and a God who went deep. One abandoned you. The other was building the foundation you couldn't see because He was laying it underneath the very ground you were standing on. If you have felt even one of these 4 shifts in your spirit, write it right now. Something is changing in me. Because in the next part of this message, we are going to go somewhere most teachers never take you. We are going to name exactly what that silence actually was, what God was doing inside it, and why the secret He kept was never meant to hurt you. It was meant to protect the very thing you almost gave up on. Stay with me, because the next revelation is the one that rewrites everything. Let me tell you what nobody told you about your silent years. They weren't empty. They were the most structurally important years of your entire life. You looked at that silence and called it abandonment. You measured it by what you couldn't see, no breakthrough, no open door, no dramatic sign from heaven. And because nothing was visible, you made the most painful assumption a faithful soul can make. You assumed God had moved on without you, but chosen one, I need you to understand something that will reframe every single year you thought was wasted. A skyscraper doesn't begin with floors. It begins with a hole in the ground. Before one single floor rises above street level, before the skyline changes, before anyone can even see what's being built, crews spend months, sometimes years, doing nothing but digging down. excavating, removing, going deeper, because the taller the building, the deeper the foundation must go first. And from the street, it just looks like a hole. It looks like nothing is happening. It looks like delay. But underground? Underground, everything is happening. That was your silence. That was your wilderness. That was every year you prayed and heard nothing loud enough to satisfy your question. God was not absent from your life. God was excavating the foundation for a weight you hadn't been built to carry yet. The silence wasn't distance. The silence was structural work. Now hear the word of God on this, Genesis 37 through 41. Joseph, a young man who received a God-given dream, a clear, undeniable vision of his own destiny. And what happened immediately after? His own brothers threw him in a pit. Then he was sold into slavery in a foreign country. Then he was falsely accused and thrown into prison. Pit, service, prison. 13 years of silence between the promise and the fulfillment. 13 years where Joseph could have looked at heaven and said exactly what you've been saying. I stayed faithful, I kept believing, and nothing opened. But here is what most people miss about Joseph's story. His gift was real from day one. His calling was genuine from the moment God breathed it into him. But the gift could not fully activate in isolation. It needed an intersection, the exact collision of the right timing, the right person, and the right purpose. And that intersection couldn't happen in his father's house. It couldn't happen in comfort. It couldn't happen in a season where everything was easy and visible and applauded. It could only happen after the pit had gone deep enough. Joseph didn't become the second most powerful man in Egypt despite his 13 silent years. He became that man because of them. Now let me bring this even closer to home. You know what happens to a seed in winter soil? Nothing you can see. The ground is frozen. The sky is gray. There is no sunlight breaking through, no green pushing up, no visible evidence that anything alive is underneath. A person walking past that field would call it dead ground, barren, forgotten. But inside that seed, in the cold and the dark and the silence, cellular restructuring is happening. Root systems are forming. Nutrients are being drawn inward. The seed is becoming something it was never capable of becoming in warm, easy, open-air conditions. Winter soil doesn't kill the seed. Winter soil makes the seed ready. Chosen one. Those years you spent in the cold, those quiet decades, those unanswered prayers, those seasons where heaven felt like a ceiling instead of an open sky, that was not God forgetting you. That was God forming you in conditions that comfort never could have created. Psalm 46:10 says it with 4 words that carry the weight of a cathedral. Be still and know. Not be still and wonder. Not be still and worry. Not be still and question whether you missed something. Be still and know, because stillness in God's hands is never inactivity. Stillness in God's hands is concentrated formation. And I need to ask you something directly, because the Holy Spirit is pressing this into this moment right now. What if the years you've been apologizing, for the years you've been grieving, the years you've called your lost season, your wasted window, your missed opportunity, what if those were actually the years God was doing his deepest work? What if the silence wasn't the absence of his voice? What if the silence was his voice speaking in a frequency your pain hadn't yet learned to hear? Because here's the theological truth that shallow faith content will never tell you. God does not build shallow vessels for heavy glory. And the heavier the glory assigned to your life, the deeper he has to go before a single visible flaw can rise. You weren't being ignored in those years. You were being excavated. The silence was not punishment. The silence was preparation for a weight you are now finally ready to carry. If you are ready right now, in this moment, to stop calling your hidden years wasted, I want you to type these 5 words right now. The silence was building me. Say it like you mean it, because heaven already knows it's true. And if the silence was excavation, if the wilderness was not delay but development, then the next question rising in your spirit right now is the most important one yet. What exactly was God building in you all those years? Stay with me, because the second revelation answers that question in a way that will change how you see your entire life story. You stayed faithful through the silence, and now it's time to understand what that silence was actually building. Because here is what nobody told you about the wilderness. It wasn't empty. It was the most productive place God ever put you. Every season that felt like nothing was happening, something was happening. Every year that looked like delay from the outside was precision engineering on the inside. The wilderness was not a waiting room, it was a workshop. And God does not waste workshops. But before we go deeper, I need to ask you something uncomfortable. How many costumes are you still wearing? Not clothes, costumes. The roles you performed so long they started to feel like your actual face. The strong one, the reliable one, the one who holds everything together, the one who never cries in front of anybody, the one who smiles at church while bleeding on the inside. You wore those costumes so long, beloved, that you forgot they weren't your skin. And the wilderness, that long, brutal, confusing wilderness, its first job was to strip them off. This is function 1, and it is the one that hurts the most. The wilderness strips false identity, not to humiliate you, to liberate you. Moses spent 40 years in Midian. 40 years. He left Egypt as a prince, polished, powerful, perfectly costumed for the palace. But God didn't need a prince. God needed a shepherd. God needed a man whose ego had been sanded down to something real. So Midian stripped the prince away until Moses the servant could stand in his place. What did your wilderness strip from you? Maybe it stripped the title, the position that had your name on the door. Maybe it stripped the relationship that gave you your sense of worth. Maybe it stripped the version of yourself that you built for other people's approval, the performance, the pretending, the perpetual putting on a brave face. I know that felt like loss. I know it felt like punishment, but God was removing what was never truly you. Now here is where it gets deeper. Function 2, and this is the one the world will never teach you, is skill acquisition through suffering. There is a wisdom that cannot be found in any book. It cannot be downloaded. It cannot be learned in a classroom or a conference. It only comes one way, through the fire. Pain made you perceptive. Delay made you deep. Loss, the kind of loss that changes the shape of your breathing, made you able to walk beside broken people in a way the untouched never could. Esther didn't step into her purpose from comfort. She was hidden first, obscured, positioned in silence before she was positioned in power. And when the moment came that required everything she had, she was ready. Not because she rehearsed, because she had been refined. David wrote the Psalms from caves and crisis, not from a throne. The man after God's own heart learned the heart of God in the darkest places first. Chosen one. The compassion that lives in you right now, that deep, quiet, unshakable ability to understand someone else's pain without flinching, that didn't come from easy seasons. That came from the wilderness. You paid for that gift with your tears, and it is one of the most powerful things you carry. Now, function 3. And this one might sting. Not everyone who walked with the old version of you was supposed to walk with the new one. Some of those people who stepped back, who grew distant, who left, who stopped calling, they were not abandoning you. God was clearing the field, because an overgrown field cannot produce a new harvest. Certain roots had to be pulled before new seeds could take hold. Jesus entered his wilderness alone. No disciples yet, no crowd, no applause, just 40 days of stripping, testing, and clarifying before the ministry could begin. And when he came out of that wilderness, he came out knowing exactly who he was and exactly what he was called to do. Some of the loneliness you experienced in your wilderness wasn't rejection, it was alignment. God was separating you from what could not survive the shift, because the shift was real, and it was coming. And not every connection was built to carry the next chapter of your life. Not every loss was punishment. Some losses were preparation. A room has to be emptied before new furniture can arrive. You cannot fill what is already cluttered. God cleared the room. And what felt like emptiness was actually space, sacred, intentional, necessary space for something real to stand in. Because here is what I need you to hold on to. After the costume falls, something true is standing underneath. After the field is cleared, something strong begins to grow. After the room empties, something eternal is about to be placed inside it. The wilderness was not where your story paused. It was where your true self became visible for the very first time. Not the performed self, not the survival self, not the people-pleasing, mask-wearing, title-carrying self. The real one, the chosen one, the one God built you to be before the world ever got its hands on you. And that self, that version, is the one walking into everything that comes next. If you have lost people, roles, and old versions of yourself in this season, type right now, God was clearing space. Because He was. And what He is about to place in that space, that is exactly where this message is going next. Let me ask you something you have never allowed yourself to ask directly. Not in church, not in your prayer closet, not even in the honest hours of a sleepless night. How much of your life did you spend waiting? 30 years? 40? Some of you, and I mean this with every ounce of tenderness I carry, some of you have been holding the same prayer since you were young enough to still believe the answer was coming next week. And now the mirror shows someone older, and that prayer is still in your hands. That is not a small pain. That is one of the heaviest griefs a human soul can carry. And most people never talk about it because it feels like an accusation against God, and faithful people don't do that. So you carried it silently. You called it trust. Sometimes it was. But sometimes, if you are honest right now, it was just exhaustion wearing the mask of patience. I see you. And more importantly, He sees you. Now let me give you what religion often failed to give you. Not comfort that bypasses the question. The actual answer. Why did it take this long? Open your understanding. Because what I am about to say will either break something loose in your spirit or confirm what the deepest part of you already sensed was true. You do not build a 40-story tower on the same foundation you pour for a 4-story house. Read that again. The taller the structure, the deeper the footings must go. The heavier the weight it will carry, the longer the foundation must cure before a single floor rises above ground. A contractor who rushes that process does not build faster. He builds something that will collapse under its own glory. Hebrews 6:13 says, God made a promise to Abraham, and because there was no one greater to swear by, He swore by Himself. He staked His own name on the timeline, and Abraham waited. 25 years between the promise and the child, not because God forgot, not because Abraham missed a step, but because what was being built inside Abraham, the faith, the surrender, the unshakable knowing that had to be finished before Isaac could arrive. You were not waiting for your blessing to be ready. Your blessing was waiting for you to be ready to carry it without it destroying you. Because here is what nobody tells you in the prosperity messages and the 30-day breakthrough challenges. Some blessings poured into an unprepared soul become curses. Influence given to someone not yet grounded in humility becomes arrogance. Wealth given before wisdom becomes destruction. A platform given before character becomes a public collapse. God was not withholding. God was protecting both you and the people you were being prepared to serve. He was not building a future for you. He was building you for the future. Chosen one, Those hidden years were not dead years. Those silent seasons were not wasted seasons. Every trial that bent you without breaking you was a weight-bearing beam being installed. Every grief you survived, the loss, the disappointment, the unanswered question, was roots going deeper, so that when the fruit finally comes, the tree cannot be toppled. Isaiah 22:23 speaks of a nail driven into a firm place, and everything of value hung upon it. God was making you that nail, driving you deep, not to punish you, to make you unmovable for what is coming. Think about clay. A potter does not rush the curing process. Clay fired too quickly cracks under heat, but clay cured slowly, given time, given pressure, given the right temperature at the right moment, becomes something that can hold water for a lifetime without fracturing. That is what these years were doing inside you. And I need you to hear this next part without flinching. You are not late. Not at 70. Not at 80. Not at any age that the world has tried to tell you that your moment passed while you were faithful and waiting and trusting. Moses was 80 years old when he stood before Pharaoh. 80. And the greatest liberation in human history had not yet begun. Anna was 84 years old when she finally saw the fulfillment of everything she had prayed for the Christ child carried into the temple. She did not miss it. She was there for it. Because she stayed. Your years did not disqualify you. They deepened you. The person you are today, weathered, seasoned, scarred in the right places, grounded in ways younger people simply cannot be, is exactly the person God needs to carry what He is about to release. Not a younger version of you, not a less tested version of you. This version, the one who survived, the one who stayed, the one still listening right now. If this message is healing your relationship with time, if something is shifting in your chest right now about those years you called wasted, pause this video and share it with someone who believes they are too late. Because somebody in your life needs to hear this today. And type right now, I was not late, I was being built. Let those words land in your own spirit before you move on. Say them like you mean them, because heaven already does. Now we come to the deepest revelation of all. Because what was hidden from you was not merely information about your future. What was hidden from you was something about who you are, and why the enemy fought so hard to make sure you never found out. I need to stop you right here, because I know what you came for. You came for a timeline. You came for a sign. You came for God to finally pull back the curtain and say, here it is. Here is what is next. Here is the door. Here is the date. Here is your answer. And I understand that. With everything in me, I understand that. But I would be doing you the greatest disservice of your life if I gave you a timeline right now, because what God has been keeping from you is not a schedule. It is something far more permanent than that. Lean in, because this is where everything shifts. The secret God kept was not first information about your future. The secret was the formed self you had not yet learned to recognize. Read that again slowly in your spirit. He was not hiding your destiny from you out of cruelty. He was not withholding your breakthrough out of indifference. He was doing something that only a master craftsman understands. He was waiting for the work to be finished before he showed you the mirror. You do not show a sculptor the statue while the chisel is still moving. Proverbs 20:5 says it plainly. The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters. Deep, not shallow, not surface level, not something you find in a single prayer or a single Sunday morning. Deep waters take time to draw from. Deep waters require patience, a steady hand, and a vessel strong enough to hold what comes up. God was drawing from the depths of you, and you called it silence. Here is what I need you to confront right now, and I say this with full love and full directness. You spent years asking God what was coming next, but God spent those same years asking you a different question entirely. He was asking, do you know yet who you already are? Because here is the brutal, beautiful truth that most people never reach in a lifetime. You cannot fully receive a destiny you are not yet stable enough to hold. Abraham waited 25 years for Isaac. Not because God forgot the promise, because Abraham needed 25 years of formation to become the kind of man who could raise a child of covenant without destroying him with fear, impatience, or doubt. Joseph spent 13 years in a pit and a prison, not as punishment, as preparation. Every false accusation, every forgotten promise, every door that slammed shut was God forming a man who could hold authority over an entire nation without being corrupted by it. And you, sitting with your decades of faithfulness, your years of unanswered prayers, your quiet mornings, and your folded-up questions, you were never forgotten. You were being formed. There is a veil right now hanging between you and the truth of who you are, and God is lifting it. Not slowly anymore, right now, in this moment. Imagine standing in a room you have lived in your whole life, and suddenly someone opens a door you never noticed, and behind that door is a mirror, and in that mirror you do not see the person the hard years made you believe you were. You do not see the tired face, the delayed dreams, the unanswered prayers. You see someone forged. You see someone who walked through fire and came out without the smell of smoke on them. Someone who was lied about and did not become a liar. Someone who was abandoned and did not become someone who abandons. Someone who suffered and somehow came out on the other side, still soft enough to love, still strong enough to stand, still faithful enough to be sitting right here, right now, receiving this word. That person in the mirror is not who you are becoming. That is who you already are. And that chosen one is the secret God kept until you were ready to see it without running from it. Because here is what I have learned in a lifetime of walking with God and walking with His people. Most believers can handle a prophecy about their future, but very few can handle the full revelation of who they already are. The weight of it is too great. The responsibility of it is too real. The glory of it is almost unbearable. God needed you seasoned. God needed you settled. God needed you at this exact point in your life, not younger, not earlier, not before the losses and the long nights and the questions you stopped asking out loud. Now, He needed you now, because now you are stable enough to meet yourself. The formed person you became, that is the revelation. Not what is coming, not the timeline, not the next door. The revelation is the one who survived long enough to stand here and receive it. And once you truly see who you already are, once that veil fully lifts, you begin to understand the 4 identities God was carefully, intentionally forming inside you during every single season of silence. 4 identities, each one named specifically in Scripture, each one more personal than the last. And one of them, I promise you, this one of them will describe your life better than anything anyone has ever said over you. If this truth is landing somewhere deep in your chest right now, somewhere past emotion and straight into recognition, type these words: I am the revelation. Say it like you mean it, because you do. And stay with me, because what comes next is going to name you in a way you have been waiting your entire life to be named. You are still here, and that means something, but I need to go deeper with you now, because surviving the silence was only part of what happened to you. Something else was happening underneath all those quiet years, something you probably never had language for. God was not just keeping you, He was forming you, and what He formed through the wilderness, through the waiting, through every season that felt like nothing was moving, is not who you used to be. What emerged from that fire has a name, 4 names actually, and one of them is yours. The first is the seer. You notice things other people walk right past. You sense shifts in a room before anyone speaks. You feel tension before it has a name, peace before it's been announced, danger before it shows a face. People called it overthinking. They said you were too sensitive, too cautious, too intense. But that was never a flaw. That was a lens being cleaned. In the raw, unformed version before the wilderness worked on you, the seer lives in anxiety, always detecting, never resting, reading every signal as threat. The gift turns inward and becomes fear. But the formed seer, the one who walked through years of silence and came out the other side, that person doesn't panic at what they sense. They pray over it. They intercede for it. They become what Ezekiel was, a watchman on the wall, not a prisoner inside it. Ezekiel 3:17, Son of man, I have made you a watchman. God didn't say that to someone who stopped paying attention. He said it to someone whose attention had been sharpened by the fire. The second is the truth carrier. You cannot live comfortably inside a lie. Not in a relationship, not in a church, not even in a polite conversation where everyone pretends something broken is fine. People labeled you difficult, stubborn, hard to please. But the truth is, and hear this clearly, you were never built for performance. You were built for integrity. And integrity in a world full of comfortable falsehood looks like a problem to people who benefit from the silence. The unformed truth carrier becomes combative, argumentative, bitter, always right, but always alone. The formed truth carrier becomes something far more dangerous to darkness. They become gentle and immovable, like steel that's been through fire, doesn't bend back into its old shape. Proverbs 12:17. An honest witness tells the truth, not loudly, not harshly, but with a weight that the room cannot ignore. That's you. That's what the wilderness made you. The third is the light bearer. People bring you their pain. They always have. Strangers open up to you on airplanes. Friends call you at midnight. Family members who haven't spoken to anyone else in years will somehow find their way back to your door because something in them knows that you carry calm in dark places. And it has cost you enormously. Because in the unformed version before the wilderness refined the oil, the light-bearer has no boundaries. They pour out until they are empty. They become the refuge for everyone else, and then collapse alone where nobody sees. Burnt out, invisible in their own pain, exhausted by a gift they never asked for. But the formed light-bearer learns what Isaiah 42:3 declares, a bruised reed he will not break, not even you, especially not you. God does not consume the very vessel he chose to carry his light. The formed light-bearer still pours, but now they pour from overflow, not from depletion. The wilderness didn't take your compassion. It taught you how to be sustained while giving it. The fourth is the pioneer. You moved before anyone understood why. You left things, jobs, relationships, churches, seasons that looked stable on the outside, because something deep in your spirit said this is not where I'm supposed to stay. And almost no one understood it when you moved. They called it restlessness, lack of commitment, inability to settle. But Hebrews 11:8 tells us something stunning about Abraham. He went out, not knowing where he was going, not knowing, but going anyway. The unformed pioneer rushes ahead of God, all movement, no route, building on ground that wasn't yet prepared, arriving at doors that weren't yet open, burning bridges that God actually needed standing. The formed pioneer still goes first, but now they've learned to move when the Spirit moves, not when the restlessness does. There's a difference between running ahead and being sent ahead. You know that difference now. The wilderness taught you the difference. So hear me. The wilderness did not take your gift. It took the unstable version of your gift. It removed the anxiety from the seer, the combativeness from the truth carrier, the burnout pattern from the light bearer, the impulsiveness from the pioneer. What remains, what you are standing in right now, is not the raw gift. You are the forged gift. You are fire-tempered steel. You are refined oil. You are a blade that took decades to sharpen, and heaven does not sharpen a blade it never intends to use. But recognition alone is not enough. Knowing your name doesn't automatically mean you live from it. Because here's what nobody tells you: the wounded version of the gift doesn't disappear just because you identified it. It waits. It whispers. It tries to pull you back into anxiety, into combativeness, into depletion, into rushing. So the real question, the one that changes everything from this point forward, is this: how do you actually live from the formed self and stop being pulled back into the wounded one? That answer is coming. And it will change how you see every single morning you have left. Now I need to slow down with you, because here is what I have watched happen to good, faithful people for decades, and I refuse to let it happen to you today. They receive a revelation, a real one, something that cracks the ceiling open and lets light pour through. And within 48 hours, they have talked themselves back out of it. They picked it apart. They interrogated it. They handed it to their doubt like a piece of evidence at a trial, and their doubt won. Not because the revelation wasn't real, but because they never learned how to hold it. So, before we go any further, I need to give you something practical, something you can carry out of this message and use tomorrow morning when the old voices come back knocking. And they will come back knocking. They always do. God doesn't just want to show you something. He wants you to know how to live from what He showed you. There is a difference between receiving truth and inhabiting it. Today, you learn how to inhabit it. Tool number 1. Learn to discern through your body. The Apostle Paul wrote in Colossians 3:15, "Let the peace of God rule in your hearts." That word rule in the original Greek means to act as an umpire, to make the call, to decide what stays and what goes. Here is what that means for you practically. Your body knows the difference between a thought from God and a thought from fear before your mind does. Fear contracts. It tightens the chest. It narrows the vision. It makes you smaller than you are. Recognition expands. It steadies the breath. It settles the shoulders. It makes you feel, for just a moment, like you have finally arrived somewhere you were always meant to be. So here is the practice. When a thought rises, and it will rise, because your mind never stops, ask yourself one question: does this thought tighten me or steady me? That is your instrument panel. Your body is not your enemy. God wired it to respond to truth. Start trusting that response. The peace that passes understanding doesn't bypass the body. It moves through it. Tool number 2, change the language you use about yourself. This one is surgical, and I need you to feel every word of it. You have been carrying a vocabulary of wounds for too long, language that was handed to you by hard seasons, by disappointment, by years of waiting that nobody witnessed. And that language has been quietly shaping everything: your prayers, your expectations, your sense of what's still possible for you. So right now, out loud if you can, I want you to make 3 replacements. Stop saying, "I am behind." Start saying, "I am becoming." Because Philippians 1-6 says, "He who began a good work in you will carry it to completion." There is no behind in God's calendar. Stop saying, "I was forgotten." Start saying, "I was formed." Because Isaiah 44:2 says, "I am the Lord who formed you." Formed, not abandoned, not overlooked, deliberately, carefully, intentionally formed. And stop, please stop saying, "I am not ready." Start saying, "Readiness has been quietly built in me." Because every single season you endured, every silence you survived, every morning you got up when you didn't want to, that was not wasted time. That was construction. That was God building load-bearing walls in you that you haven't even needed to use yet. Old labels are going to knock on the door. They know your address. They have been coming for years. But you do not have to let them back in just because they are familiar. Familiarity is not the same as truth. Tool number 3. Do not rush to explain what God just showed you. This is the one that costs the most people the most ground. And I say it with everything in me. Not every revelation needs to become a 10-step plan by Sunday morning. Jesus said in John 16:13, "The Spirit of truth will guide you into all truth." Guide. That is a process word. That is a journey word. Truth doesn't always arrive fully assembled. Sometimes it lands before your mind catches up, and that is not a problem. That is how God designed it. A seed should not be dug up every hour to check its growth. You planted it. You watered it. Now let the ground do what ground was made to do. Receive first, strategize later. Let truth settle before you interrogate it. Give the revelation room to breathe inside you before you try to manage it, organize it, or explain it to everyone around you. Because here is the truth that holds all three of these tools together. You do not need to force a new self into existence. You need to learn to live from the one God has already formed. That person is not coming. That person is not someday. That person is already there underneath the old labels, underneath the long silence, underneath every year you spent wondering if God had moved on. He didn't move on. He moved in. Take one sentence from this message, just one. Carry it for the next 7 days. Write it on something you will see every morning. Write in the comments right now, "I will live from the formed place," because the formed place is where your power has been waiting. And what I am about to speak over you next is not more teaching, it is activation, and you have been waiting your entire life to hear it. Chosen one, stay with me, because everything we have walked through together, every wound we named, every silence we refused to run from, every question you carried alone in the dark, it was all leading to this moment, right here. Not to hype you, not to perform over you, to speak something true directly into the center of your chest. You were not abandoned. You were excavated. There is a difference, and God needs you to feel that difference right now. Not just understand it in your head, but feel it in your bones. Abandoned means discarded. Abandoned means forgotten. Abandoned means you mattered once, and then you stopped mattering. But excavated means someone valued what was buried so deeply, so completely, that they kept digging, through rock, through resistance, through years that looked like nothing was happening. Archaeology is not fast. The most sacred discoveries on this earth are never fast. And the archaeologist does not give up on the dig because the artifact has not surfaced yet. He digs because he knows what is down there. God knew what was down there in you. He never stopped digging. You were not delayed meaninglessly. You were designed with precision. Jeremiah 29:11 does not say God had a plan for you. It says the plans are for welfare, for a future, for hope, plural, layered, intentional, not one plan. A system of plans. A blueprint drawn before your first breath touched this air. You were not hidden in shame. You were protected in formation. There is a moment in construction, every builder in this room knows this, where the foundation is complete, but the structure has not yet risen above ground. You drive past that lot every single day, and it looks empty. It looks abandoned. It looks like nothing is happening. But underground? Underground, everything has already been decided. The weight has been calculated. The load has already been carried. The foundation is already holding what the eye cannot yet see. That was you. That was your silent seasons. That was every year heaven looked quiet from the outside while God was underground, laying foundations strong enough to hold everything he was about to build visible in your life. And now the structure is rising. What was sealed is opening. What was hidden is becoming recognizable. What was buried in silence is rising in clarity. Chosen one, I want you to receive what I am about to speak, not just hear it. Receive it. Let what was hidden for protection now be revealed for purpose. Let what was buried in silence now rise in clarity. Let the formed self, the real self, the one God shaped in the hidden years, come into full recognition. Let false names fall. The name that said you were too late, let it fall. The name that said you were forgotten, let it fall. The name that said your best years are behind you, let it fall to the ground right now and let it stay there. Let holy identity stand. Isaiah 45:3 says, I will give you the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places. Hidden riches, secret places. God was not keeping secrets to punish you. He was keeping them to protect them, keeping them until the moment you were strong enough, formed enough, rooted enough to carry the weight of what He was about to hand you. That moment is not coming. It is here. You are not waiting to become someone real anymore. The real you is standing here now. I need you to hear what that means for a person your age, with your history, with everything you have survived. You did not make it this far by accident. 80-year-old faith is not fragile faith. 70 years of holding on is not weakness. Decades of praying through loss, through grief, through watching the world change around you while you held on to a God you could not always feel, that is not the faith of someone who missed their season. That is the faith of someone whose season requires that kind of foundation. Young trees bend in storms, old growth stands. You are old growth, chosen one. And old growth does not get cut down. Old growth becomes the landmark. Old growth becomes what everyone else builds their bearings around. Who you are is no longer a secret. Not to heaven, not to the people watching your life. And starting today, not to you. The scroll that felt sealed over your identity, your real name, your real calling, your real worth, that scroll is opening right now. Not metaphorically, not poetically, spiritually and practically and permanently. Every room in you that stayed dark out of protection is filling with light right now. Every question that haunted your quiet mornings is not a wound anymore. It is a doorway. And you are walking through it, not stumbling through it, not crawling, walking. Upright, chosen, fully named by God. This is your benediction, beloved. Receive it. You are not who the silence tried to make you believe you were. You are who God has been forming since before your name was spoken on this earth. And He is not finished. He is just now letting you see what He has been building all along. If you receive this, if something in your spirit just exhaled for the first time in years, right now, no more secrets. And send this to one person who needs to know the silence did not mean God left them, because it never did. Not once, not ever. So let me bring you back to where we started. You came into this message carrying a question you had stopped saying out loud. A question buried so deep inside your chest that you almost forgot it was still there. You came in carrying the weight of years, years of faithfulness, years of silence, years of watching and waiting and wondering if somehow, some way, you had been passed over. And now I need you to hear what this entire message has been building toward. Three things. Three things God was doing in everything you called silence. First, the silence was not punishment, it was formation. God was not ignoring your prayers. He was answering them at a level deeper than the surface you were asking from. He was reshaping the very ground of who you are. Jeremiah 18 says, "The potter does not abandon the clay, he keeps his hands on it." Every quiet year, every unanswered morning, his hands never left you. You were on the wheel the whole time. Second, the wilderness was not a detour, it was the design. Moses did not stumble into 40 years in the desert. God walked him there. David did not accidentally end up hiding in caves before the crown came. Joseph did not fall into a pit by misfortune. The wilderness is where God builds what applause cannot build: character, depth, the kind of unshakable rootedness that cannot be manufactured in comfort. You were never lost out there. You were being grown. And third, the secret God kept was never about a blessing waiting on the other side of a door. The secret was you, the person formed in the fire, the soul refined in the waiting, the life that endured when everything reasonable said it should have collapsed. That is what he was building. That is what he was protecting. Not just a future for you, but a you worthy of the future. Chosen one, stop waiting to become worthy. You already are. You are not too late. Scripture does not have an age limit on purpose. Abraham was 75 when God called him to begin. Moses was 80 when God said now. Anna was 84 years old, praying in the temple every single day, and the Bible says she was the first person to publicly proclaim the Messiah had arrived. 84 years old, and God said you. You get to carry this announcement. You are not too old. You are not unqualified. You are not disqualified by the silence you endured, or the seasons that felt wasted, or the dreams that went so long without movement that you quietly set them down on the floor and stopped picking them up. Pick them back up. Because here is the truth that should stop you cold right now. God does not form people for nothing. He does not spend decades shaping a life just to let it sit on a shelf. Every scar you carry is a credential. Every year of faithfulness in the dark is a qualification. Every morning you chose to get up and keep going when nothing had changed. Yet that is not weakness wearing thin. That is strength being built. You have been walking out of a long winter, and what you do not yet see is what you are carrying underground. The roots went deep while the ground looked frozen. The life was forming while the surface looked still. And chosen one spring does not ask permission to arrive. It just comes, and when it does, everything that survived the winter suddenly stands. That is you, right now, standing. You are not begging anymore at a locked door wondering if you belong. You are the one who was invited. You were always the one who was invited. You just could not see the name on the door because the enemy spent years convincing you that the invitation belonged to someone else. It has your name on it. So I am not sending you out of this message with more waiting. I am not sending you out with a list of things you still need to become. I am sending you out the way a pastor sends people back into life, with your head up, your feet steady, and your eyes finally open to who God already made you. You did not come this far to stay in confusion. You came this far to finally recognize what God built in you. The formed life does not begin someday. It begins the moment you stop arguing with what God already finished. And that moment is right now. So here is what I am asking you to do. If this message named your hidden season, if it reached into something you have been carrying privately for years, comment right now, "I know who I am now." Let those 5 words be your declaration, not a wish, a recognition. Like this video if this message found you in a place nobody else could see. Share it with someone who has been telling themselves they are too late, because they need to hear that God does not waste formed lives. And subscribe not for content that flatters your emotions, but for messages that come here to strengthen your spirit. Because you deserve a word that treats you like the chosen one you actually are. The cave is behind you now. Walk out with new eyes. The season you carried underground is about to break the surface, and the name that finally fits has always been yours.